You are listening to Catholic Family Podcast.
Greetings, fellow travelers through the liturgical year. This is Lisa Davis with another Feast Day Quick Take on the feast of the 40 Holy Martyrs of Sebaste. The boys in our family, being boys, especially love this feast day, showcasing the faith and courage of the soldiers of an intrepid army legion named for thunder and lightning. But this is the kind of heroic tale that's an inspiration to anyone. Here's the drama in a nutshell. The year is 313 AD. The location is Sebaste, present-day Sivas, Turkey. The formerly massive Roman territories have started to break off into subsidiary kingdoms of Rome. The west ruled by Constantine, marching under the Christian banner. The east is now ruled by Licinius, who considers at the start of their rocky relationship that it is politically expedient to concede to Constantine's revolutionary amnesty for Christians. In the year 320, however, the relationship between the two rulers begins to fall apart. As Constantine introduces greater measures to protect Christians throughout Rome, Licinius, ready for a political break anyway, and disgusted with what he considers Constantine's mad obsession, abandons all protections for Christians and re-implements the former pagan practices, suppressing Christianity within his populations and outlawing it in his army, an army that has been free to practice the faith since 313. It shouldn't surprise most to hear that the large majority of the army took this news with a shrug. Most were already pagan or practiced no religion at all, but there was one very special legion for whom Christianity was more important than the Roman army. The 40 Christians of the famed 12th Legion. Rather than deny Christ or compromise their Christianity by making even a token offering to false gods, which was the proof of loyalty to Licinius required by army regulations, 40 soldiers in the legion choose imprisonment. It's important to understand that the chief mark of the Roman army in the 4th century is discipline. Loyalty to the state, as well as personal loyalty to the emperor, is demanded and expected. Any deviation from this is met with extreme forms of punishment, including death without trial or death simply at the word of a military commander. The 12th Legion is so prized, however, and its cohesiveness so important, that the Christians are given every chance to come around to what their commanders call common sense. How hard could it be to simply cooperate with the national narrative? 99% of the army has complied. Nevertheless, not one of the 40 will take a bribe or give in while being tortured. They are proving their mettle as the best and bravest. And the Roman powers that be are aware of this. Loath to lose some of their best men, their jailers believe they have come up with just the strategy to cause some, if not most of the men to give in. Their final sentence is to lie unclothed side by side on the frozen surface of a lake in Sebaste until they either expire or agree to relinquish their Christianity and sacrifice to the Roman gods. We know what they chose, of course, because they live on for us in the lives of the saints, and we get to read about them every March 10th. Isn't it amazing how we can be awed by this heroism still 1,800 years later? And if anyone's ever heard of Licinius, it's with a vague recollection of distaste at best. But I digress. After prolonged imprisonment, torture, and attempted bribery, all 40 soldiers have thus far held fast. Men of the highest integrity and resolve, loyal friends, steadfast in their faith and trust in God, not one of the 40 is weakened. And so the scene of their slow execution is prepared. In the last cold weeks of late winter, a frozen lake is not hard to find. A statue of the false god stands nearby, and a warm bath is kindled tantalizingly close to the frozen lake, the immediate reward for any soldier who decides to bend to the will of the emperor. Guards are chosen to surround the Christian legion in case any attempt to escape. Hours pass. Daylight begins to grow dim. The soldiers' commitment to Christianity and to one another impress the guards watching, sparking both incredulity and grudging respect. In the bitter cold, the soldiers, barely able to speak words of encouragement to one another through chattering teeth, pray and even sing together. The guards know these men, know of their valor and their commitment to their military profession. How bewildering it is that they choose to waste their lives over loyalty to an upstart religion. Surely they'll see reason and save themselves. But as night closes in, only one young man weakens out of the 40. Though his friends call after him to hold fast, he rises weakly and stumbles to shore, intending to save his life by plunging into one of the waiting tubs. But the sudden change of temperature, or is it God's justice, result rather in his immediate death. Poor man. But God will have his way. 40 had pledged themselves to him, and 40 there will be to march through the heavenly gates. At the moment of the deserting soldier's death, a bolt of lightning shoots down from the heavens. Now on the shore stands Aglaus, one of the guards. It is not known whether he was a less than heroic Christian or a pagan, but the scene he's witnessed this day has touched his heart and soul. Filled with heroic grace, he sees this as his sign, throws off his clothes, and joins the 39 men on the ice, making the company complete once again, the 40th martyr of the 12th Legion. By the time dawn breaks, most of the men have expired. A few show small signs of lingering life, but all of the frozen martyrs are gathered up nevertheless and burned in a giant pyre on the edge of the lake. By royal decree, all remnants are thrown into the running waters of the nearby river to discourage their being honored, but the faithful still manage to rescue relics which are shared among many churches, especially in the East. Word of the almost unimaginable courage and tenacity of the pious soldiers spreads through the Christian community, inspiring the faithful and converting countless pagans. It's no surprise that the cultus of the heroic 40 flourishes immediately. We have a written record of their history from a eulogy by Bishop Basil of Caesarea, which celebrated their feast day only 60 years following their deaths. We remember the amazing story of these 40 men today, almost 2,000 years later, because they did not give in to the pressure of their peers and even their government. Knowing the truth of Christianity and on fire with love of God, no inducement could force them to relinquish the treasure of their faith. Finding strength in prayer and in one another's support, they persisted to the bitter end of a slow and agonizing martyrdom and won the everlasting crown. They have so much to teach us, this special band of Christian brothers. The eternal value of persisting in the truth against all odds, that this life is short and that eternity is forever. And their story is the ultimate lesson in choosing our friends well. St. Thomas Aquinas tells us, "There is nothing on this earth more to be prized than true friendship." Throughout Catholic literature and in the words of many saints, we find a constant thread praising the Catholic virtues of hospitality, patience, and true charity toward one another, but especially in choosing our close friends from the church pews and supporting one another toward our heavenly goal in an oasis outside the worldly world. We may never find ourselves in as stark a situation as the Lightning Legion did, having to choose martyrdom over apostasy and having to convince our friends to do the same. But we can pray to the 40 Holy Martyrs of Sebaste for wisdom, strength, and all the right words if this ever does come up, or in any situation where our friends' spiritual well-being is endangered. And did you know we know the names of all 40 martyrs? We can ask them personally. Ora pro nobis, Saint Acacius, Saint Aetius, Saint Alexander, Saint Angus, Saint Athanasius, Saint Candidus, Saint Chudian, Saint Claudius, Saint Cyril, Saint Syrian, Saint Domitian, Saint Domnus, Saint Ecdicus, Saint Elias, Saint Eunocius, Saint Eutychius, Saint Eutychius, Saint Flavius, Saint Gaius, Saint Gorgonius, Saint Helianus, Saint Heraclius, Saint Hesychius, Saint John, Saint Lysimachus, Saint Meliton, Saint Nicholas, Saint Philoctemnon, Saint Priscus, Saint Cicerdon, Saint Servian, Saint Sisinus, Saint Smaragdus, Saint Theodulus, Saint Theophilus, Saint Valens, Saint Valerius, Saint Vivanus, and Saint Xanthus, and the guard who replaced the one soldier who lost his faith, Saint Aglaeus. And this is Lisa, signing off.